You know, the strangest thing in life is that we often search from place to place we go looking. We look in places, we look in people, we look for in things, in habits, in everything and everywhere. And the only thing, or the only place, and the only one that we don't look is in ourselves. And what we look for is home. Often people, when we grow up without a sense of belonging, a sense of certainty of knowing that we always belonged and that we always will belong to someone, to a place we call home, and we'll always have a home. So when you don't grow up with this sense, then it is but natural that we are going to go look. We are going to try and find it in different places. We are going to try and find in different people, in habits, in things. And it's never enough. This deep void that we have often, and it just doesn't go away. And people do anything because what from the outside people don't realize, people perhaps who grow up luckily with this sense of belonging, with this sense of knowing that that there is this certainty that they are enough. What they don't realize is that this void is what makes people do crazy things. This is what leads people to self-sabotage. When you're constantly trying to prove your worth in hopes that somebody, whoever it is that you want or whatever it is that you want, will claim you as their own, and that they will love you and they will accept you and they will be proud to have you as their own, that you will always belong to them, or to this place, or to this organization, or to this sensation, or to this feeling. And it is pretty painful because often people, places, things, strangely, it just doesn't work. Even if it is people who are closest to you, people who you can trust with your life, people who love you and people who trust you, even they cannot fill this void. No one can. No one can fill that void for you, for me, for anyone. And until and unless you stop running, stop looking outside, and start thinking about maybe looking outside and trying to find this sense of belonging outside, maybe it's not really worked out, or maybe it's not really working out. Maybe you could think about looking inside you, and that, my friends, is a very terrifying place. It's terrifying because we did not grow up knowing that we can be our home too. that we have always belonged to us and we will always belong to ourselves. And it's so sad that we forget. And the strangest thing is there are different parts to us that exist within us. So there's a part of us, perhaps this child, who's lost, who doesn't have the sense of belonging, who perhaps never belonged to anyone. Perhaps nobody wanted them, perhaps they never belonged to anyone. And they carry this dark void, and they go from place to place, from people to people, struggling, trying to find this acceptance, this love, this validation, this approval, this home that they seek, more often in wrong people, wrong places, wrong things. And then there is a grown-up version of us who is so terrified to acknowledge the existence of this lonely and lost child that we will do anything to repress it. It could be anything. It could be finding new vocations, it could be finding new coping mechanisms, it could be finding new goals and new people to hang out with, new partners and everything, but to look at the child who's lost, who's lonely, because to be able to claim that child, we'll have to acknowledge that we are vulnerable. We have to acknowledge that we are flawed, that we are imperfect, and that we are going to disappoint both the child and we are going to disappoint ourselves. And the beauty is that that's okay. You still can be a fantastic human being with your flaws and your vulnerabilities and your little quirks and your little eccentricities. It is the grown-up version's job to claim that lost child, to slowly become, because it's not easy. It's painful because we didn't see this, because nobody modeled this, because we don't know what it feels like. And when we spend all our lives just looking and searching, and that's what's familiar, this searching and then being disappointed and feeling lost and alone and miserable, and then trying again the same loop, the same cycle. But to break away from it and to say that to ourselves that no, I am my safe place. I am the home where I always belonged and I always will. A home, a safe place within ourselves where there is not just space for that lost child with no sense of direction, a child that doesn't know what love is, what acceptance is, unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, unconditional validation, unconditional approval, safety, security, kindness, empathy. Maybe these words are just alien to that child. And also a place for the grown-up who is stuck in survival mode, trying to make things work, trying to just navigate through this world with absolutely no skills. And despite whatever ordeal that you might have faced, one thing I know for certain is that the moment you decide that you are your own safe place, that you are the one to whom you will always belong, the sense of loss starts to go away. You may still feel sad. You may still feel a lot of pain, a lot of anguish of that child, of yourself. You may feel afraid having to do this alone, but you're not alone. You have you. And you are the best thing that's happened to you. If there's anything that I want you to just think about from this, is that you can be the safe place that you never had, that you can belong to yourself in a way that nobody ever can claim you as, that you can create this safe place of love, of no judgment, of validation and approval that nobody can. And may you do it soon. Thank you. You know, the strangest thing in life is that we often search from place to place. We go looking. We look in places. We look in people. We look for in things, in habits.